Venom: Let There Be Carnage is set to introduce one of the most iconic and most vicious Marvel villains to the big screen in the form of Cletus Kasady's Carnage. Carnage is widely regarded as one of the most violent and most ruthless villains in the vast Marvel pantheon, with a thirst for blood that rivals that of DC's own iconic clown prince of crime, the Joker. Carnage is responsible for some of the most heinous acts to ever grace the pages of Marvel Comics, and if the events detailed in this video are anything to go by, Eddie Brock has quite the fight ahead of him in the upcoming Venom sequel. So ahead of the release of Let There Be Carnage, let's delve into some of Carnage's most brutal acts and give you a glimpse into just what kind of deranged maniac we can expect when the long-awaited Venom sequel arrives later this year. Viewer discretion may be advised, as some of the acts depicted in this video may be disturbing for some viewers. Please continue with caution. With that out of the way, let's get straight into it. Some of Kasady's most heinous acts occurred before he was ever bonded with the Carnage symbiote, and in fact happened while Kasady was just an adolescent. As a child, he began satiating his curiosity for pain and agony by experimenting on animals, as many real-life serial killers and sadists do. When he was a kid, he tortured and killed his mother's dog using a power drill, before eventually graduating to human victims. He pushed his grandmother down the stairs with the express intent of killing her, which he succeeded in doing, and later burned down the St. Est's boys' home. He killed the headmaster and left numerous young children trapped in the building as it collapsed under the destruction of the fire, killing everyone left inside. All of these happened when he was still just a child. His ascent into adulthood only led him to accumulate more power to carry out his awful acts of torture and murder, and his bonding with the Carnage symbiote would grant him incredible physical power that did nothing but throw more fuel onto the fire that was Kasady. After bonding with a symbiotic parasite known as the Clintar, his mental state rapidly deteriorated even further. And now, he has the physical capability to murder indiscriminately at will, becoming nigh unstoppable and ever more insane with every passing day. Once bonded, Kasady had an extensive tenure facing down the likes of Spider-Man and Venom, and during one of their fights, Carnage elected to create a distraction by throwing a newborn baby out of a window. During the Carnage USA arc, Kasady laid siege to a small American town, in which his symbiote created spawns of itself and infected the town's inhabitants. He turned the town into his own personal army of Carnage minions, each of them sporting the same powers as Carnage, but under his complete mental control. He even controlled several Avengers for a time during this arc, and forced them, as well as the townsfolk, to take part in sadistic murders and heinous slaughters while being driven by the symbiote against their will. After the town was finally set free, they were left with various psychological and mental conditions as a result of this trauma. On another occasion, Kasady found himself in a diner during the Deadpool vs. Carnage miniseries. Upon hearing the sheriff's remarks about the infamous Kasady and how the town's police force was on the lookout for him, he revealed himself out of pure amusement and murdered the sheriff and his deputies in the middle of the diner simply because he decided that he wanted to. To the dismay of dozens of diner patrons, he then decided to lock them in, terrified for their lives and begging for mercy, though the massacre takes place off-panel and the outcome is only later discussed. This gory, brutal act of sadistic, unjustifiable violence and merciless slaughter cements Carnage as one of the most ruthless villains that the pages of Marvel Comics has to offer. Though these crimes are not all Carnage has been responsible for in his vast tenure, and many of his acts have taken place on a much larger scale. The Maximum Carnage storyline detailed Kasady's rampage across Manhattan. With the help of Shriek, who is in fact present in the Let There Be Carnage trailer, Kasady makes his way to Manhattan. Shriek then uses her powers to cause the city of Manhattan to descend into chaotic madness, as the inhabitants are driven to complete and utter insanity. Riots break out, chaos is unleashed, and the city of Manhattan quite literally resorts to killing itself by slaughtering one another. The people of the city, driven blind by insanity, were driven by an insatiable desire to massacre one another without remorse or even a second thought. Neighbor turned on neighbor, families killed themselves in their own homes, and at the center, joining in the calamity, was Kasady himself, as he marched down the street, taking part in the bloodshed simply for no other reason than that he wanted to. He decimated the population of Manhattan for fun. This insatiable nihilist has been at the forefront of some of the most atrocious deeds in the history of Marvel Comics. Driven by a simple desire for bloodlust, he has the mind to carry out such deeds without predictability or remorse, and the physical power to withstand and even surpass many of Earth's mightiest heroes. Truly, Carnage is one of the most formidable foes in Marvel Comics, and based on what we've seen in the promotional material for Let There Be Carnage, it is safe to say that this level of sadism and insanity will very likely be done justice on screen. But anyway, my friends, what are your thoughts on Carnage? Are you excited to finally see him make his live-action debut? And do you think Let There Be Carnage will do his character justice? Also, what are your thoughts on some of Carnage's most heinous acts? As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching the channel. Hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.